So today I am tackling an engine upgrade to my Frontier OS27 Sawmill, and I'm going to show you the engine I'm using and the process to swap it out. I've got this Frontier OS27 Sawmill. Since I've owned it, I've kind of had a few problems with this Briggs and Stratton. As you can tell, it's fairly new. I probably only have a couple hours on this thing, but I cannot seem to get this to idle properly, and it's a pain to pull start it and get it started. I decided to swap it out with a new engine. I picked up this Predator 459cc at Harbor Freight. I'm actually a big fan of I'm a big fan of the Predator engines anyway, so I'm kind of excited to see if it'll be a direct fit. Hopefully it will be, and I won't have to do any modifications. So stick around and we'll find out. Alright, so I'm kind of hoping that this is a fairly simple process. We'll see. I always seem to think things are going to be real quick, and it ends up taking me about 3 times as long as it should. I'll kind of go over what needs to happen, and we'll see how easy it is. Okay, so to swap out this engine, I think the first thing we got to do is we got to disconnect the wires, all the safety switches, and the throttle cable. Then we need to take that pulley off. And finally, there's 4 mounting bolts. So hopefully it's that simple, just to take a pulley off, a screw to disconnect some wires, and 4 bolts. And hopefully this doesn't take too long. We'll see. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is take off the safety switches. And it is just taking a Phillips screwdriver, taking these wires off. And then disconnecting these wires. So it's just disconnecting that wire there and that wire. Just kind of pull them out. All right, next I am going to disconnect the throttle cable, and that is down here on top of the engine. Again, just a Phillips screwdriver. Loosen it up and just kind of unhook that. I'll put the camera down because I need 2 hands for it. Once you get that bracket off, this is kind of clipped in there. You just kind of lift it up and pull it out. That's how you take the throttle cable off. You probably should know how to take it off because you put it on if you own one of these. Alright, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take off this pulley. But before I do that, I have to take off the blade and this belt here. So to take the blade off, you just kind of loosen the tension and pull it off. Alright, so I took the blade off by loosening the tension. Now I'm going to take this belt off. Alright, next I'm going to loosen this tension pulley. And to do that, I'll have to loosen this nut here and then loosen this tension nut. So to loosen this nut, I am using a 15/16 socket. Just got to loosen it a little bit. I use a 3/4 inch wrench to loosen the lock nut, and then 11/16. Oh, there you go. loosen this nut. That should take it down enough just to get the there you go. Got a 16mm socket right here, and surprisingly loose. But I use a 16mm socket to take that off. Oh wow. And that slid off real easily. I was thinking I was going to have to use a puller to get that off, but I don't. I'm just going to take the 4 bolts that are holding this on and hopefully just lift it off. A 1/2-inch socket and the wrench should take these off. All right, now the hope is that I can get this engine out without having to remove all this stuff. We shall see if I have enough room. So yes, there is enough room to get it out without having to remove all this stuff. That is excellent. All right, so here they are side by side. They're looking pretty similar, so I'm pretty excited about that. I'm really hoping that it is just a direct fit, and if it is, that'll be awesome. Again, I could not get that thing to idle right. This is why I'm swapping it out. Also, this has an electric starter. I'm not sure where I'm going to mount the battery, but I probably will eventually do that if this doesn't start. If it starts as easily as the other Predator engines that I have, I probably won't put on the battery. But if not, I'll figure out a way to mount the battery there. But this does have an electric start. And the other good thing about it is I believe this is a 15 horsepower versus 13. So, but everything seems to be very similar. It's like 4.5 inches from here to here. So it should fit through there. The base plates are the same, and the shafts are exactly the same. So hopefully it'll be as easy to put back in as it was to take it out. Let's see. All right, the true test. The true test is, can I get this in without having to dismantle everything? Sorry, excuse my language. Mm-hmm. Look at that. That's exciting. Now, bolt it up. All right, now I just got to put the bolts back in. Line it up a little bit. All right, so I'd just say kind of line it up where you want and then tighten these down. That looks pretty good. Putting the pulley back on, it's probably easier just putting the pulley on and then taking the key and dropping it. Or you can put the key back in. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put this spacer back on, and I don't know how tight to tighten it. I'll just snug it because it wasn't very tight when I put it on before, or when I took it off. It doesn't feel like it's threading. Okay, so maybe it's not a direct fit. Wah, wah, wah. I'm probably gonna have to go get a bolt. It does not feel like it's threading. If that's all it is, I'll still be happy with that. But for tonight, I might have to put it on hold because this bolt does not fit. Wah, wah, wah. All right, so till tomorrow. One of the things that's different on this engine is the tapped end of the shaft there. So I had to go pick up a new bolt, which this is a 3/8 fine thread or 3/8 24 bolt. I'm just gonna put the belt back on. And then tighten this tensioner again. blade back on. Next thing I need to do is hook up the throttle cable, and that is going to go through here and hook up to the carburetor up here. So here's where I'm hooking up the throttle cable, and this is a Phillips screwdriver to loosen that. Alright, I'm going to need two hands for this, so I will sit you down and show you what it looks like afterwards. So there's the throttle cable hooked up. So that's how I routed the cable. Now the one thing I'm going to have to work on is figuring out the wiring for the safety switches for this switch. Now I'm going to add the oil, fuel, and just kind of test it to see if it runs. Alright, it's got the oil in it, fuel in it. Now I'm just going to give it a test run here, see if she starts. Alright, so this does have electric start. I don't have a battery hooked up to it yet, so I'm just going to try it with the pull start. I just turned it over a little just to see if I can get some fuel in the carburetor. And now let's try it out. Just like a Predator. Just like a Predator engine. Start first pull. Alright, I'm just going to see how it cuts now. This will be the first cut with this Predator engine. it is. That's the engine swap. Use the Predator engine. It runs a lot better and a lot easier to start. The Predator engine, it pretty much is a direct fit swap, and there's just a few things that I got to take care of as far as the safety switches and figure out the wiring on that. But as always, I'm grateful and I appreciate that you took the time to watch. Hit that like button. Please subscribe. Truly appreciate it. And thanks for watching.